Welcome to Scotland in May. Look at it. Cape Wrath, you're not beating us.
Say goodbye to the bog.
This is brutal. Well, good morning. Quite a good kip in Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy last night. We all went to sleep about 9 o'clock, and that was me. I was out for the count. Apparently somebody else turned up about 9:30. Woke everyone up except me. So I think there were 6 of us here last night. But yeah, not a bad stop-off point. Never kipped in a bothy before, and that's definitely the best sleep I've had on this trip. But what an amazing place. I'll just give you a spin round where we are. Nothing for miles, absolutely nothing. So today we're going to make our way to Strathcarron, and then we're hoping to get past Strathcarron, and there's a bothy a few miles out of it, so we're going to our plan is to camp there for the night. I can't remember the name of it, so I'll put it on screen now. So yeah, quite a good stop off at Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy. Definitely a memorable one, this one is. It's alright, just waiting for Darren and then we'll get going. Welcome to day 7 of the Cape Wrath Trail. Morning, Graham.
Good morning. How are you? Graham.
We're okay.
Just a sec. Put my head out. I don't blame you for having a lie in. You had a beast of a day today. Yeah, I definitely needed an extra snooze. Good morning, guys.
So,
yeah, hopefully I won't get lost again.
well,
Don't get lost today.
No.
to be fair, we were just talking about it. A lot of people go up the side of this lock in here, and it's over this corner here.
Graham arrived late last night. He obviously he's on the Cape Wrath and he got a bit lost yesterday. He didn't get lost once, he got lost twice, and he put an extra 6 hours onto his day, so he didn't arrive at the bothy until about 8:30, looking a little bit shattered, poor bloke. So he grabbed a pitch there, so hopefully he doesn't get lost today, but it's easily done, very easily done. Right, bit of a river crossing coming up, which shouldn't be a problem. Again, no rain. So this is the infamous T-junction river crossing that's ended a lot of people's Cape Wrath trip, or they've had to stay at the bothy for a few days until this goes down. But it's not going to be a problem for us today. As you can see, you just walk across that. And we're heading over that way. Right, let's paddle across this. So despite that only being about 6 inches deep, the rocks were really quite slippy actually. And in full spate, that would be a nightmare to get across that, so I can see why people either end the trip or they camp at the river for a few days to let the water level go down. But we made it across okay, and this dry weather is definitely benefiting us. It's not rained now for over a week, so all our river crossings, they're no more than a paddle across. Right, onward. Despite there being no rain, there's still plenty of bog. I'm just bushwhacking across all this lot. Don't know if you can see, roughly about there, the Bothy that we stayed in last night. So we literally headed straight across. But yeah, it's tough going. Just got to watch where you're putting your feet all the time. Right, let's get up there and catch Darren up. Calvey in the distance that we're about to go around. There is another one in the distance over there. If you head into that, you're going the wrong way. So we've literally bushwhacked over all this and through the bogs, and we've now just found a little bit of a path here that will take us down to the lock. Right, let's get down there. We should end up going over a wire bridge. What a place this is. So we've come from this way. Nice little beach at the head of it up there, where you come over the wire bridge. So we're just following this nice easy 4x4 track. We'll get right to the end over there, and then we're going to carry on a bit further, and there's a Bothy. We're going to stop there and have some breakfast, I think. Sun's come out. There is a bit of a breeze now, as you can probably hear. Yeah, this is turning into the Cape Wrath Trail dry edition. We're starting to feel a little bit cheated on these river crossings now, because our river crossings have just been a paddle. I'm a tempting fate. Yeah, I best keep my mouth shut and enjoy this good weather. Right, let's get to the end of this one. Fionnaraich Lodge, which is where we're stopping. I think that's how you say it. I'll put it on screen. So we're going to stop here for a little bit. It's got a flushing toilet. Oh, luxury. Apparently you have to fill it up yourself though, but I'm happy to do that. The sun's gone in, it's gone grey, and the wind's picked up a little bit, but it's not raining. Right, I'm going to stop here for a bit, have some breakfast, and then we'll carry on. Start making our way to Strathcarron.
I'll shut up and go.
Fionnaraich Lodge. There's someone actually here, but he's okay with me filming. Room in here with a fire.
I'm having curry for breakfast.
Curry for breakfast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my breakfast.
Another room here. And then a little room here. All got fireplaces and all got stunning views.
Which way are you going to go? I'm going to go to Strathcarron. So I'm just
Strathcarron, yeah.
And this has got a bonus.
Long day yesterday.
The toilet.
Are you doing the mountain section?
There it is.
Round Torrid, depends on what it's like.
You have to fill it up
That's the plan.
and then flush it, or just flush it down there.
I'm going to stop at a camp.
The sink area.
And then, because I'm on my own, so just...
There's the buckets to flush the toilet. Luxury. Right, we're going to get some food and then we'll crack on. Nice little stop off there in the lodge. Have some porridge, coffee. Nice chat to a guy that's in there. He's doing Cape Wrath. There's a couple of women staying there as well. They're not doing Cape Wrath, they're just Monroe bagging, using that as a base. So right, we're off again. We'll get our way to Strathcarron. The first Cape Wrath sign we've actually seen on the whole trip. We've just come off this 4x4 track. So if you can see Darren ahead, that's the way we're going, following the fence line. You can just see the post further ahead. Well, that was steep coming up that. Just come over this brow here. Fence line's there. Don't know if you can make out the steel fence posts in the ground. The path gets better as you get higher. Yeah, that was steep. Right, keep going this way on this path. Well, it had to happen, it's finally raining. But we managed 7 days without putting the waterproofs on, which I don't think is too bad a going in Scotland. And at least we're on a proper path now. It was going to happen eventually. We're just starting to descend now. Just make out Strathcarron in the distance. So we're going to drop down there, get some food at the Strathcarron Hotel, hopefully, and use their facilities. The rain's kind of coming and going. It's coming back now, so we've not bothered taking the waterproofs off. We'll get dried out when we get down there. Alright, let's get down to the Strathcarron Hotel. Strathcarron Hotel, right at the railway station, and this is one of your get out points. If you want to bail, you can get a train from here. We're not bailing, we're going to go and get some food. Right, burger and chips and 2 cans of Coke later, we're on the move. Nice little stop off point. Nowhere to charge your battery packs or phones up or anything. Stop for serving food at 2 o'clock as well. Well, they stop the bar menu at 2 o'clock and then they only do pizzas after 2 o'clock, so we'll still get something. Right, we've got 5 miles to go to get to the Bothy, and it started raining again. So we're 2 miles outside of Strathcarron, and we're now in this woodland. It's still raining or spitting. It's every time we think about taking the waterproofs off, it starts raining again. So we're just going to leave them on. So this Bothy is 3 mile away. We don't know what it's like inside, and there might be people there, so we don't know. We're not too sure what the camping's like outside, so we'll decide when we get there whether we're going to stay in the bothy or camp outside, and depending on the time we might even carry on a little bit further. It's just gone 3:30, so we're guessing we'll get there around about 4:30ish. So we'll see what it's like, see what the camping's like, see what we feel like, and decide when we get there whether we're carrying on or camping outside or inside the bothy. Out the forest, along a very busy main road, and now we're on the 4x4 track, going uphill. Less than a mile to go, and yeah, it's chucking it down. But we're loving it, and we're still smiling. So the bothy that I couldn't get the name right, Coire, Fionnaraich, wait, it's there. That's the name of this bothy. Darren's already gone in. Room in here. No fire. Room in here which we think is occupied. Well, it is occupied. There's a load of gear, stove in here. This one's got an upstairs. If Ed Gaines up here, I'm getting out of here. Not a bad room. Stay here. Another room here. Not too bad actually. What we got in here? Oh. Another little room. Yeah, this ain't too bad. We're out of the rain. Are we staying? Are we staying?
Well, we can stay in here.
Or
upstairs, but we're off the ground here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're staying. Right, let's get out of this wet gear. Right, so we're all sorted in Ed Gaines' house. I'll just give you a little look around. So I'm dossing on the floor tonight because I've got a wide mat and it's not going to fit on there. So I've got all my gear on there, a bit on there. Darren's got his stuff on that shelf as well. Darren's skipping there tonight. Putting his stuff on the chair. I've got stuff hung up. Rucksacks. Jackets and all sorts of stuff. Cracking view out the window though. So another great day on the trail. End of day 7. We left Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy this morning. Hiked straight across the bog, which was pretty tough going. Headed for Kinlochewe. Past that, and then you basically keep on going until we got to the first bothy. Stopped there for a bit, had some lunch, and then it was just a 4x4 track, easy walking. And then we came to the gate with the sign on it saying Cape Wrath Trail, follow the fence line. So you're off path. We hiked through the bog for a bit, and then we looked on the GPS at where we should be, and we were around about 100 feet in the wrong place. So we moved further over, and Darren actually came across a very faint path. So we followed that path up, and then the path joins where the iron sort of fence line, boundary line is. and we basically followed that. That's when the heavens opened up and it started to rain. Waterproof's on for the first time in a week, so I don't think we've done too bad with not having to put the waterproofs on. Down into Strathcarron, which is your get out point if you want to bail, if you're injured or you've had enough. You can get a train at Strathcarron to Inverness. We didn't do that, we don't need to, we're going to carry on. So we had burger and chips in the Strathcarron hotel, which was good. I think Darren had a couple of pints of lager, I had a couple of cans of pop, and then off we went back into the rain, through some forestry, and then we followed the... Sorry, Darren's just pulled his pants down. Oh look, I'm not looking. We are slumming it tonight, I tell you.
Clean pants on.
We followed the 4x4 track, and then we got to Ed Gaines' house, which is where we're staying to now. I couldn't remember the name of this bothy. I knew in my head what it was called, but there was no way I was going to try and pronounce it. So I'll put on screen now the bothy that we're in. So yeah, another great day. Tomorrow we've got a really big day. One of our, well, I think it's the biggest day. We've got 19 miles and over 4,000 feet of elevation, because we are going to go through the mountain section. So quite a tough day tomorrow. So right, let's do some map time. Right, okay, map time. So this morning we left Maol-Bhuidhe bothy. We left around about 7 o'clock. We went straight across following the tree line, and that's where we came to the T-junction. That's the river crossing that if it's deep it's going to be very difficult to get across. For us it was only about 6 inches, so it wasn't too bad, but the rocks were quite slippy. We then bushwhacked across following on a bearing all the way across. There was a faint path, but it was faint. It kept disappearing and coming back, and I think it's just where people sort of follow it, create a bit of a path, and then end up going in a different direction. We got to about here, and if you look over to your right, it's actually off map, but around about here there was another lock, and I have seen people head off to that one thinking that it's Loch Calvey, but it's not. So you need to keep on a bearing when you're coming across here to make sure that you're going the right way. We then got to Loch Calvey. We went over the wire bridge. We were going to stop, but we thought we'll just carry on because we'd not been walking that much. So we carried on. We went all the way around the loch. The sun come out, it was lovely. Quite a huge loch, takes you a while to walk around it, but yeah, it was nice scenery. And then you pick up a 4x4 track, so it's quite easy walking. And then we followed it all the way down, got to about here, and then we could see the lodge, Ben Dronage Lodge. If you turn right at the bridge, that takes you up to Craig. So if you didn't want to go to Strathcarron, that's where you would go to get to Craig. But we carried on. We got to the lodge, we stopped there, had a chat with a really nice bloke who was also doing the Cape Wrath. We then set off and we carried on, 4x4 track, easy walking, went over a really nice bridge with quite a nice gorge below it, followed it round, kept on going, and then we got to a gate that had a sign on it saying Cape Wrath Trail, follow metal boundary post, I think it said. So you come off the 4x4 track, and then we started bushwhacking up. We got so far up, and then we looked on the GPS, and we should have been sort of 100 feet or more to our right. So we moved to where the GPS was telling us to be, and that's where Darren spotted a bit of a path. So we followed the path all the way up, and then as you get to the top, you actually join where the metal boundary posts are, and that's where these two lock-ins are. That's also where it started to rain. So waterproof's on. We then carried on, it's quite a defined path now when you start descending, and then you follow it all the way down, and we got probably about here, and then you can see Strathcarron, which is there. And the rain was on and off, but the path was quite defined, and it was fairly easy walking even though it was raining. And then we dropped down to Strathcarron, and that's where we went in the Strathcarron hotel and had burger and chips. They stopped serving food at 2 o'clock, and after 2 o'clock they only do pizza. We did notice somebody carrying on the 4x4 track, and they carried on, and it just continues all the way down, and I have seen people go all the way down this way to Atterdale Gardens, and if you get there you can actually get the train. I have heard of people getting the train up to Strathcarron, or the extreme is you follow the main road. So if you do miss that turning, you do have another chance of following this track all the way down, and I have seen people go that way. So we left Strathcarron, now on to the north map. We left Strathcarron pub, we followed the road all the way up, and then we went over the river, and then we picked up a path that basically followed the river, and we just followed the river all the way around. We then went through a bit of a woodland, and that's where I did a bit to camera, so I was in a woodland. You come out the woodland, and then you get on quite a busy road. So we followed that road over another bridge, and then we turned left, and then we picked up a 4x4 type track, and then just basically followed it, and then it faded out and just went to sort of a normal kind of track. And we are here now. Coire, Fionnaraich, Bothy, or however you want to pronounce it, and that's where we are now. So tomorrow is quite a big day. We're going to follow it, continue on all the way up, keep on going up, all the way up here, get to Ling Hut. We were thinking of getting to Ling Hut today, but it's another 5 mile further on, so with it raining and that, we thought we'll call it a day at the Bothy, and then we're going to go up and over and around the mountains, and then eventually into Kinlochewe. So that's the end of today, day 7. We don't really need food. I think I'm just going to have like a pudding or something, because it wasn't that long ago that we had burger and chips in the Strathcarron hotel. Have a brew or something, and then we're just going to chill out for the rest of the evening. I shall see you all tomorrow for day 8 and our halfway point in days and mileage, because we're now over 100 miles on the Cape Wrath Trail. So yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow for day 8 of the Cape Wrath Trail. See you tomorrow. Well, good morning. Good night in the Bothy last night. The people that were in the other room, when they came back, they got the fire going and they invited us in, and they had beer. So they very generously gave me and Darren a can of a beer each, which was very nice of them. Good conversation for a couple of hours, and we all retired. Good night's sleep. So quite a big day today. We weren't 100% sure that we were going to do this section. If we did have a wet route planned to go via Craig, if the weather was going to be bad today. But we've got blue sky that way, and a little bit overcast that way. And it's forecast to be a little bit dull all day, but no rain. So we're going to go for it. Welcome to day 8 of the Cape Wrath Trail. Just hit 3 mile from the Bothy. That's where we've come up from. As we went round that lock, the heavens opened up, despite it saying it wasn't going to rain today. So he's stopped now. Just got this bit to do up here. Ling hut in the distance. We're going to walk past that in a minute. Further on, I don't know if you can make out some cars parked there. There's a road that we're going to cross. I think we're going to stop somewhere around here. Might stop at Ling hut. You can't go in it, it's a private one, but sit outside it. Look at the size of these mountains. I know the camera won't do it justice. They're absolutely huge. And the rain stopped and we've now got blue sky. Time to take the waterproofs off, I think. 30-minute break down there, have something to eat, then we'll carry on. Ling hut, private bothy. Nobody home. A few gas bowls. Right, we're either going to stop here or carry on a little bit further. See what Darren wants to do. Right, so we've ended up carrying on. We've come across this road here. We're going to stop at these ruins there, if you can see Darren in front. And then we're going to be heading up there. There's a load of people in front of us going up. I don't know if you can see them. They'll be Monroe bagging. I don't think they'll be doing Cape Wrath, but you never know. Right, let's have something to eat here. Right, unofficial river crossing, because we sat at the ruins. We've just come across the river and then straight up. But the way you should go is to where those cars are parked and then pick this up, and that's the way we're heading up now. We were just being lazy and saving a bit of time. Right, 12 miles to go. Every now and again you just stop and turn around and you're just blown away. Look at that. What a day. What a day. Absolutely lost for words. Look at it. The waterfall. Big lock just over here. There's actually someone in a tent there. Not a bad pitch. I think we're going up there somewhere. It could be around the corner. But look at this place. The people there, Monroe baggers, we actually overtook them before, and they were well ahead of us. Yeah, I think we're going to stop here for a bit. Absolutely lost for words. This is the lock that we've only seen on the map up until now. Still quite a bit of snow. What a fantastic spot. This guy camped up here last night. Looks like he's staying for another night. Right, we've just had a half an hour break here, so we're going to carry on. It's not the way I thought over there. We're actually now heading, so we're going to skirt around this one, and then there's one behind it. We're going to skirt around that, and then we'll start descending down into Kinlochewe. Right, let's leave this amazing place behind. So we've just very slowly and carefully descended that. My GPS was telling me to hug the side of the landscape and follow it round, but it's quite vertical in some places. Darren's Garmin InReach was telling him to drop down a lot lower, which is what we've done. There's a very, very faint path there and a bit of a marker cairn there. So yeah, we're glad we did that. That's pretty sketchy coming down that bit. Right, onward. So this section is known as the boulder section, and it's certainly bouldery and pathless. We're just heading on the bearing. We need to be in between these two. But yeah, certainly bouldery. Let's give you a spin round. See where we are. Nothing for miles. And probably more miles. Alright. Keep heading that way. We're still at it. We've hugged the side of this. Lower down. Just keep hitting a boulder and then aiming to another one. And then doing the same again, but it's up and down, up and down. It's just never ended. There's a bit of a river here that we've got to cross. It's telling us to go up that way, cross, and then come back on ourselves on the other side. So we're going to see if we can cut across here. Yeah, this is tough going. So the map, the GPS, is telling us to hug the landscape and go further up, across the river, and then come back on ourselves on this side and over this brow here. So we've cut it out. You see Darren down there, he's just getting some water. We've cut across these two streams. I'm just going to follow it straight across. We don't see the point in going up there. to come back down again. So that's why we're going to go over there. So we've literally just bushwhacked all the way across this, dodging the bog, streams, crossing rivers and all sorts. Now we're heading up and over this, which will get us out of here. Tough day, really tough day this. Glad I did it, but yeah, really tough day, and we're not out of it yet. Right, onward, and the last up, I think, of today, and then hopefully it should be all downhill, and then through a forest. Well, we found a path. We got ourselves out of that glen. We're now there, heading that way, I think. Give you a 360 where we are. That was some going. Right, 3.5 miles to go to Kinlochewe. Get going. So we've made it to Kinlochewe. We're going to check out the caravan and camping club site, see if they've got room for us. Hopefully they have. If not, it's plan B. But I don't know what plan B is. Right, so we didn't need a plan B. They had 2 spaces left. So we managed to get on the site. Really nice site. Darren's just opposite me.
You always get me in a compromising position.
Sorting his stuff out. I'm going to go and have a shower as soon as I've done this, in the next 10 minutes or something. There's room for a 5 tents, that's it. So plan B, don't know what we were going to do. Tough day today, really tough day. From starting this walk, when we planned it, we always said that if we get bad weather on day 8, we won't do the mountain section, we'll cut across to Craig. If we get good weather, we're going to go for it, and we went for it. And it started off this morning, obviously raining like you saw, and then it brightened up later. So we had good weather to do it, but it was tough. It was hellish tough. It was all right going up, and when you got to the lock at the top, it was just stunning. It was just absolutely amazing. It was like something out of a movie, out of a James Bond film or something. It was just unbelievable. And then it all went not wrong, but really hard. And you drop off that lock onto a pathless section, and you go round that mountain. And we were on it for hours and hours. And it just went on for miles and miles, bushwhacking, up and down across boulders and all sorts. Darren's GPS said we should be lower to the left, mine said we should be higher to the right. We got the map out and we just ended up leapfrogging from one land point to the next land point to the next one, and we just kept going that way. And then eventually you get out of it, and then you start dropping down to Kinlochewe. But yeah, it was a tough day. Like I say, I'm glad I've done it. Really, really glad I've done it. Probably wouldn't do it again. If I ever did this walk again, I wouldn't do that again. But yeah, I've ticked it off. If you're wondering what the box is, it's our resupply box. We got here at 6:15. having left the Bothy this morning at 6 o'clock, so we've been at it for 12 hours. So we got here at 6:15. I asked the woman if there was anywhere open to get like a can of pop or something, because there's a petrol station that's shut, and she said there's a shop down the road that sells like a general store type thing that sells pop and that. So whilst Darren was checking us in, I ran down there, and it also doubles as a post office. So I got my parcel and Darren's food parcel as well. So in here there's another 8 days worth of food, which we're pleased to have. The only downside is the rucksacks are going to be really heavy again tomorrow. So, right, let's do some map time. Right, okay, map time. So, we left the Bothy this morning at 6 o'clock, carried on all the way up. A little bit on the cloudy side, but it was fine. And then we got to the lock, and that's where it started raining. So rucksacks off, waterproofs on, rucksacks back on, and then we started climbing up. Quite an easy climb, wasn't too bad. And then it sort of zigzagged up to the top. Got to here, you had a really nice view, and you could just make out the Bothy right in the distance. Got to about here, stopped raining, but we kept the waterproofs on. Mountains were huge, absolutely huge in this area, and you had great views over this way of the mountains over here. So we started to descend. Took quite a while to descend, a little bit pathless in places, but you could still pick the path up. You could see where it was, and then we carried on all the way down. This bit took quite a while actually. There was people coming up with mountain bikes and everything. It took quite a while, quite a defined path, about a foot wide but well defined path. And then eventually we got down to Ling Hut, which is there. We were going to stop there. We knew that we couldn't go in it, but we thought we'll stop there. But we thought, nah, we'll carry on a little bit further. So we carried on, got to the main road, which is there. Just move this over. Across the road, and then we camped at some ruins, which is where I've marked as a little camping spot. We weren't going to camp there, but I just marked it down. Stopped there for about 30 minutes. It actually tells you to go over towards the road and then double back on yourself, but we thought, nah, we'll just go across the river. So we went across the river, and then we just picked up the path, quite a well-defined path. And whilst we were sat having something to eat, we saw a load of people going up that we presumed were Monroe bagging. So we set off, went through the river, went up, and then this was just epic walking along here. These two mountains here are just massive, absolutely massive. And we just walked all the way up in between them. Kept on going, gaining a bit of height all the time. And then you get to about here and it goes quite rocky. Still quite easy, but you're just gaining height all the time. And then you come all the way around, get to here, and then that's where you can see all the waterfalls coming down. And you get to this lock at the top here, which was just, it was just amazing, absolutely stunning. Let's move the map. So we stopped there for about half an hour. There was actually someone camping up there. I thought that you came up this way, but you didn't. It was this way. So you walked across the top of the waterfall, and then it was pathless down here. And my GPS was telling me to hug the mountain a lot higher up. Darren's was telling him to go down here. We could see this river, and we knew that that was too low. But where mine was telling me to be, it was too dangerous, it was too steep. You can see the contour lines quite close together. So we did drop down quite a bit, and we tried to stay on a bit of elevation, not too high, not too low. And then we just bushwhacked all the way around and then into the bouldery section. And this bit from there to about there took us about 3 hours. It was ridiculous how long it took us. We got to here and it was telling us to come up the river, across and then go back on ourselves. So what we ended up doing was just cutting straight across to this point. So we dropped down, Darren got some water, and then we carried on and we went up to roughly about this point here. And then again, just bushwhacking all the way along here, all the way along, boggy, rocky, up and down. It was just awful. That bit again took us a few hours to do, just that bit. And then eventually you start going up and actually come out of it. And then we picked up a path roughly about here, on this bit here. You get to the top, and then you just start making your way down, which did take quite a long time to come down. You drop in height all the time, and then you end up in a little bit of a wood. Little bit of a wood here, and then you can see the road, and then we followed it into Kinlochewe, and we are at the campsite there, the caravan and camping club one, which is right in the middle of town. So we were going to pick up our parcels tomorrow, but like I say, I managed to go in the shop, realised it was the post office as well, and picked it up now. So yeah, very tough day today. So stats wise, we have done, don't know if you can see that, we have done 19.88 miles. Moving time is 10 hours. I've burnt 3,292 calories, and we've done 4,508 feet of ascent and 5,177 feet of descent. So yeah, we've been up to Ben Nevis today, because I think Ben Nevis is around 4,500 feet. So yeah, quite a tough day. So right, I'm going to go and have a shower, get back, have something to eat, and I shall see you all tomorrow for day 9 of the Cape Wrath Trail. See you tomorrow.